Didn't hear recording start. Cool. I'm Camelia and senior product designer for government policy. And today I'm going to talk about like the career path, how to make a decision, or like specifically how did I make a decision. And the first I want to just tell a little bit why I'm doing this. Like usually like those things happens in your one-on-one with your manager, like where do you want to grow? And for a long time, I'm very fine and okay with like, I don't know, I'll just see. But like there are some life changes. I got a kid and I don't know why I start thinking I should like, solve this problem in case in 20 years he come to me, have the same question, I have some experience to share with him. So now it's come to like as a designer, what I do is approach a problem and try to solve it. So how I phrase the problem is like, for now, at this moment, which career path I want to follow to keep like being a individual contributor and go with the staff role, or like a switch to people manager. So how did I do this? Like, just imagine that I'm designing like a product to help people do this. How would I approach it? So I think I will do 3 steps. The first one is like to know more about the career path, the opportunities. What are they? And then like know like themselves, myself, the person, and then like match this to like what I want to do and like what I can get. So have the 2 question matching, and then you potentially can get answer. So first is to know like the career path. What I did is like send out a survey internally and to staff and manager, like it's including like research and tech writer roles. It's not only for designers. And those are the survey questions. And we got response from 5 manager and 5 staff. So here is very brief of the report. If you want to read the detail, I'll also link it in the presentation. You can go there, more details, things there. So briefly, like here, for the first question I have is like, what are the biggest change when it comes to a new role, like a manager or staff? So interestingly, both of them mentioned mindset. So that's like a very like emphasized change from both like survey answers. And specifically for staff is like I'm still individual contributor is scope changes. And like when it comes to the manager, it's more like, oh, like the dynamic, the content of like work changed from like solving product problem to solving people problem. And obviously it's less hands-on on design work. And then it's also interesting to know like what is not change. So I think this is very interesting for me, that what is not change is like your designer in a core, no matter which path you are choosing. It's just like the content of the problem you are solving are different. And motivation like of changing the role. So this is, I found it's very interesting because I only found like the things that are mostly in common. So people like when they grow, they want to help others, not only do your own job. And it's a new challenge. And like it's a naturally kind of growing. Is I take it as like when you have more ability, you naturally will get more responsibility by an organization. So it's not something you forced in. It's like really something organic. And another question is interesting is like, what make you happy in your role? And of course, like it's related with the previous one, is match your motivation to be in the role you are happy. And for the staff specifically, I want to highlight is like it's more control over time compared to manager. Is like you still do a lot of tasks individually, and you can be more synchronized, less depending on other people's schedule. And as a manager, that you will have more probably one-on-ones that depends on other people's goal, task, and their time management. And both of them like are related like with of mentoring, coaching other people. And another very interesting thing is like both of the surveys, someone mentioned like they're open to switch. So staff is open to switch to a manager, and the manager is open to switch to a staff. And I think this is also kind of a possibility that is common in GitLab. That's in the organization we're allowed to do those type of things. And skills needed as a manager and staff. So this is also like the result looks very similar from both survey. And most skills mentioned are the mindset change. You need to be prepared, like to being in role, look at things differently, and communication skills and coaching and mentoring skills. So I have 2 gray card there is like my assumptions, like maybe in the comment of this UX showcase, you can put it there, is my assumption correct or not? So first is very interesting, like in the staff survey, no one really mentioned hard skill like interaction design and stuff. I take it as like this didn't change much from a senior to staff. You are still using the same skills, and it's not something maybe too surprised, so people didn't mention it. And another thing is like mindset is addressed way more if you look at the raw response compared to hard skills. I interpret it as like the hard skill can be trained gradually in the role if it's needed, and mindset you need to be prepared, like before switch or like at the moment when you switch, like that's something sudden change, it's not a gradual change. So that's kind of my understanding. We can discuss that later. And this is like I ask what are the top 3 weekly tasks as a manager and the staff. And the common part is design is, as I said before, manager is people design, and staff is product design. And for staff, it's more like a reviews, still hands-on designs. And for manager, is reviews and meetings. So those difference, I think, is very clear. And how much time is spent on meetings on a busy day and regular day. So this, like each survey has different answer. I think it really depends on people and how you organize your day. And also I think it's because GitLab is async and remote. So we have more flexibility. No matter which role you are in, you can control your time more. So there's no much difference I see from the survey results that like, for example, I have assumption that manager will have more meetings compared to staff, but it's not, the difference is not much. There are still some differences. So I think that's like the survey results, and how to interpret like the result, how I use it. I create a 3-step format. I will quickly go over them, and I will also go to my example to show how to do it. So the first step is like I read the report and I ask myself some questions to help me understand like what are the most important thing I care, like how do I digest the report. And then the second step is really about like myself. So I ask myself some questions, like I need to answer it intuitively without much like hesitation. And then like there are some coaching questions I ask myself to go deeper into it to help like the answer to be more concrete and more robust. And then like rationalize it to make sure that the result I wanted is the confirmation. So the last step is like take the result from the both two and put them together. So probably I can make a decision. So I will show you my example. So it's probably easier to see how did I do it. So first, like the career report that we'll just go over through. So when I went through it myself, I asked myself like first question, what surprised me the most? So the first thing is like manager didn't spend much time like compared to the staff on meetings. And then the second one is the staff can control their time more and switch to like the switching to manager and to staff and switch back is possible. So those are the things that surprise me the most. And how I take those answers as like, okay, I really care about time management because the first 2 things are about time. And then like probably like I remember this because I have some fears about like making decisions. That's why I remembered like, yeah, oh, I can switch between them. So it's not a big deal. And the second question I ask myself is like, what are the top 3 things I remember? So the first things I remembered, like I treated them as important is like, no matter which path I choose, I'm still designing. And the second one is a mentor and culture is constantly mentioning there, no matter which you choose, this is important. And the last thing is the same, switching between them is important. And then I like ask myself another question, like try to rationalize it. Why do I remember them? Why they're important? So I think the first one, like designing the core, like no matter which role, is really like design is my interest, solving problem is my interest. That's something I care about. And then like the mentoring, like coaching thing, I remember probably because like I need those like skills to progress no matter which one I choose. And then the last one is similar to the previous question. I have a fear about making a wrong decision, but because of this, so I think it removes my fears. So those kind of are the result I take it from the report, that I care about time management, like design is my interest. I need like to have the skills, mentoring and the coaching skills. So the next one is about myself. With the time, I will go really quickly, so you can like do it for yourself. So the first question is like, what do you think are important in your life? And be happy, be valuable. And I keep asking my question like, how, or what is, how to be happy and to do what? And it's also interesting to ask like, for example, what is not, like what is the question, what is not the question. It help you to like find out what exactly, like for me, being happy and being valuable. So after that, you can still rationalize it like before. So the result for me is like, I care about work-life balance. I enjoy design. Other people's matters. I like to work with other people. I feel valuable when I'm help. So those are the results. And then to confirm it, ask myself, would those change in next 5 to 10 years? It wouldn't. And the second question to understand myself, I ask like, how do you imagine your everyday life? So this is really zoom out, very big. What are important in life? And this is how you imagine your everyday life. And then like you describe your detailed day, and to help dig it more, so I asked 2 questions. What's the things that if you want to give up, you can remove something, then you remove something not important. And then you ask again, if there's something you want to add there to make sure that you didn't miss anything important. So after I asked those questions, so I found out what is important for me is like design is constantly mentioned in my daily task. And I like to work with others, and family is very important for me. And in my task, I didn't mention any manager specific task, like hiring, those type of things. So again, will those change in next 5 to 10 years? I said maybe, because I would rationalize like why I don't have a manager specific task, because I never did it. It's never in my life. So maybe in the future it will change. So the last step is really just putting them together. I copy paste like the result from the first part and the second part, the pink and yellow one. Like when you do like problem solving for a product, like you have a lot of themes from like user research to try to group them. I did the same thing. So I group all the things with the relevant thing. So the first one like is found out like, oh, time is very important for me. Like I enjoy working with people, and design is the core of my interest. And I do have some fears about like changing between the roles and other stuff. And then what does it tell me? Can I make a decision? I think I can, because like when you see this, like design is really there. And like when I say working with people, it's also related with design. It's not like pure people thing. And I care about more life balance. So really for now, I want to focus on growing as individual contributor, just aiming for the staff role. And maybe in the future, that like it will change because the switching possibility and like some information about myself. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, 1 minute overtime. Let me see. There any questions? I don't think there's any question posted in the agenda.
So what was your final decision?
To go with the staff as an individual contributor for now. Like I have an open possibility for the future, but for now it's really like, yeah, everything I put at the result there, the theme is really design focused.
Yeah. So it seemed like after you've gathered all the data, the most pertinent part after that is the introspection, knowing what you're actually wanting and thinking about that deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Becca, you want to verbalize and I can take notes?
Yeah, I met with my PM yesterday, and he had somebody shadowing him who's coming over from sales, maybe. Yeah, it's like I think he had a sales role, but he wants to transition to PM. So it's cool that we support those kind of opportunities to kind of move laterally to different roles and departments. But I was wondering if anyone has ever like shadowed a staff or a manager. It might be a little bit more challenging with managers since they're meeting one-on-one with people, but I guess most of the time it's just like talking about what they're working on. It doesn't have to be anything like, you know, they don't have to be part of like performance factors reviews necessarily, but at least, yeah, some kind of like shadowing. I wonder if that's a possibility. Just putting that out there as an option.
Interesting idea. I don't think we've ever done that. The only person I could think that's had a similar experience might be Hannah, but that was also because she was interim. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea. Internship. Someone posted an internship link. Might be something where you can create an issue to discuss it. You know, then we can get to Valerie, Christy, etc.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about was going beyond that and looking at trends even like across like UX across the industry, like in different companies. You know, let's say you want to move up to like a VP level, design director level. I don't know if staff or manager is kind of more aligned for that. So if you're thinking like, you know, 2 to 3 years down the road, maybe I'll become a manager, but like as a stepping stone to a design director, or like if you want to go into more of like the startup world, you know, and build out a team. Like I think it's also important to consider, you know, not just the next step, but the step after that, and see like what would be a good stepping stone for that. So I don't know if that came up at all, but I don't know where I want to go from here. So it's a really relevant conversation for me. So thank you for bringing it up, but yeah.
Yeah, the biggest part is the introspection. The data doesn't matter if you don't know what you know, who you are, what you want, what you're interested in. That was my takeaway anyway.
Yeah, and I also think like so I also did the same Mura board with Justin our like a one-on-one this career development thing, and this is the second time I do like a similar exercise. The questions are slightly different. I feel like that those things you need to do more, and then you are sure. So sometimes like when you think about once, it doesn't click, and think about second time, like with the exactly actually the same data, same result, then you just have more confirmation about yourself. So it might just come with time, and I think sometimes repeatedly doing something is not bad. It's not something that we can get it once. Like if we do it once, we get it. It's not like shopping.
And are you gonna come up with a little system kind of thing, like a template, so others can replicate your process?
Yeah, I create a template like in Figma. So there are instructions and empty spaces. So I had all of my answers there. So you can just copy paste and do it yourself, either like a physical paper or like do it digitally. I put it in the end of the slides. I forgot to show it. So that's the end of the slides. I put a link there.
Well, thank you very much. It was very informative. We'll stop the